I wanted to come back and make this video, and I hope I have enough time to complete what I want to talk about. I hope you'll stick around. For those of you who follow my videos, you know that I don't get on camera. It's out of respect to the people that were affected by my story in my real life, and the respect for people in my ex's life who were affected and were innocent. So last night I was on YouTube and I'm jumping around looking at videos trying to find something interesting to watch, and I came across this girl's channel, or woman I should say. I do not at this moment know her YouTube channel. I'm looking through my history here to see if I can find it, because I want to give a shout out and credit. Untangled My Marriage to a Malignant Narcissist. This woman could have been telling my story. And the similarities were so great that I was going to go back to that video and read the comments that I had made, because it would stir my memory of what it was I wanted to talk about. First of all, sleep deprivation. I didn't even realize it until I was watching her video last night, and all the times that I've talked about my relationship with my ex and the things that he put me through and the things that happened and how damaging it was to my psyche and to me mentally and emotionally, it never even occurred to me that sleep deprivation had been a part of that. Now, let me go back to the beginning of when he and I first met and started to talk. Now, he worked night shift. He worked what a lot of people might call the hoot owl, or the graveyard shift. During his downtime, he liked to text. And he would text me in the early beginning of our relationship. He was texting me for hours at night. And I would have to get up for work at like 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. And I didn't think anything of it, because when you're in those beginning stages of a relationship with someone, you're so taken with them that you don't want to be apart from them. So to sit up and text with that person throughout the night, and maybe, are so tired in the morning, but it's a good feeling, because you feel like, well, I'm getting to know them. They're really interested in me. They really want to know more about me. And I don't want to, upset them by saying, I can't talk to you anymore. I've got to go to bed. So that's kind of how they do things. I'm not saying all narcissists do this. But this was one way. I didn't even put that together until I watched her video last night, that during that grooming and mirroring process, I was so taken with him and wanted to hear more and more about his life and how he was so similar to me. And we had so much in common, and knew so much about the same types of bad history with other people relationship-wise, that it was overwhelming to me that this guy came into my life right when I needed somebody, and he knew so much about what I was going through because he had gone through it, and we had so much in common. Looking back on it now, I know that that's the mirroring stage. And I was so sleep deprived that I was going and, working during the day. And here's another thing that I later learned about him, is that all the women that he was ever involved with worked day shift. He worked night shift. And I didn't give that a whole lot of thought at first. It wasn't until I found out the new supply also worked day shift, and I started putting two and two together. I later found that out, and I'll talk about that more later. But right now what I want to continue talking about is the sleep deprivation part of this story. Now, once he and I began to really become involved with each other, and he had moved past that mirroring and grooming, and was kind of in midsection or midway through the love bomb phase, he kind of started to pull back on the texting at night. And this, I was so like addicted to that. I couldn't wait till 9, 10 o'clock at night when he would begin to text me. And even though I had to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning or 5:30 in the morning, it didn't bother me. But then when he started to stop and he would only text a few times, and then by about 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night, he would say, well, now you go on ahead and get you some sleep, honey, and I'll talk to you in the morning. And that kind of was like, okay, what's happening here? Is he uninterested? Is he no longer wanting to talk to me? And I would get like, and that's part of their game, is that they rope you in, and then they kind of pull back just a little bit, push you away just a little bit, give you enough doubt. That's when they start to kind of create this doubt in you. What have I said or done something wrong? Why doesn't he want to talk to me like he did for hours and hours? Okay, so then it wasn't long into it. Now, that they create that feeling in you so that you will attach yourself to them even more. You will offer more of yourself and your love and your admiration of them to keep them interested and to keep them in your life. Together, his ex, the mother of his child, had kind of started to rear her head. And I found out later that he had not been separated from her as long as he had led me to believe, that the two of them had not been living separately as early as he had said, that he was actually still living with her when he started talking with me, and discarded her very quickly, very, very close to the time that I started staying with him. So within a matter of less than a week, she had moved her things out and had gotten her a place, and I was coming in with my belongings. And he was still kind of playing both sides, and keeping her kind of at, not arm's length, but maybe like bended arm, So he was kind of keeping her nearby enough to keep her thinking she still has a relationship with him, but she started hearing stories about me, and she started finding out stuff about me, and then she started coming after me. And I had only just found out that things weren't as black and white as I had thought. I started finding out that she hadn't been gone away from that relationship as long as I had thought. So she begins threatening me. Of course, and I look back on it now and I think, did she really ever really threaten me? Because all the threats and all the accusations that I heard were from him. Now, there was one altercation that night. He started back with the texting again. During the whole time that we were living together, he never texted me at night. He would text me once or twice throughout the night and just say early on, and then by 10 or 11 o'clock he was, he had stopped starts texting me at night again, and he's texting all night. He's texting 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Don't give up on me. I don't want this to be over between us. I care about you. I want us to be together. Telling me, talking to me about the two of us getting a place to rent together. We'll get a place together. We'll get our own place, and then she can't cause problems, because he was telling me at that time that she was coming after him for child support. She was coming after him for the home. She was going to take him to court. She was going to she was going to make accusations against him for deserting his own child, for causing like emotional abuse and physical abuse toward her. And so he was just saying things to me like, I have to do what I'm doing. I have to make her happy and do what I'm doing to keep my child in my life. Well, of course, I wasn't going to cause problems between him and his child. And I'm still in this relationship in my mind. I'm still with this man, and I still want to do what he wants to please him. So I step back and I give him what he's asking for, to give him that time. But then he starts texting me at night saying all these things, and keeping me worried and keeping me up and keeping me sleep deprived, so that I'm I'm going to work, I'm upset, I'm depressed at work, I'm not feeling my job duties, I'm down, I'm blue. So one night, and I remember, and if anybody remembers hearing my story, my relationship with the narcissist, there's one part of my story where I was really sick. And it was during this time I was really, really sick. And it was during probably close to the last couple of conversations that I had with him. I had worked, it was on a Friday. I was just really sick. I had strep throat. I had ear infections. I was just, and I didn't even put two and two together then, that my immune system was so weak and low due to the stress, due to the sleep deprivation, due to the worry, and due to all this mental stagnation that he was putting on me. I didn't even put it together at that time. But I remember talking to him that Friday afternoon or evening. It was getting close to time for me to get off work. And he was asking me, I've got to go and spend time this weekend with my kid. I've already got it all planned out. You need to stay at your mom's and just let me do what I have to do. And Monday we'll see each other. Maybe Sunday night I'll come get you when I take my child back to the mom's. And he's telling me all this stuff. And I don't even care anymore at that point because I was just so sick. And he was asking me, what are you going to do this weekend? And living at my mother's, staying with my mother at that time was very stressful. It was a very bad environment for me to be in, with people coming in and out in the family, and me just there as this grown woman sleeping on my mother's couch, being depressed and being, looking like this big fool who had fallen for this guy, and I didn't want to be around people. So I told him, I said, I made a little bit of extra money this week at work. I said, I'm thinking I may just go get a hotel room tonight and Saturday night and come back home Sunday afternoon so that I can get some sleep and I can just rest and get through this strep throat and this ear infection and just try to feel better. Now here I was saying, and I wasn't saying this to him to get sympathy or anything. I was just saying this because this was what I was thinking. I was so depressed. I didn't want to be around anybody. I was so down with this illness, and just I wanted to just go someplace and crawl off in a hole like an animal. This man had a home, and supposedly nobody was living there with him at the time. I mean, it had been about 3 or 4 or 5 nights since I had left. But supposedly she's not back, and the child's not there. And I'm just thinking, why couldn't he have said to me, I'll be at work tonight. Why don't you just go home, go to our home, go back to my home. He had this big soaker bathtub, why don't you go down there and take you a nice hot soak, get you a good night's sleep in this big king-size bed that I have, and, start to feel better. And tomorrow I'll go spend the day with my kid, and, maybe by then you'll be feeling a little bit better. But no, he didn't offer that, because a narcissist does not care about anybody but their self. So later on that night, he messages me and he says, well, did you end up going to a hotel? And of course, let me go back a step. When I told him that, he was like, well, what are you going to do? Go get you a man, take him to a hotel room? You got somebody coming down there to meet you? Then he says to me, well, message me later and let me know what room you're in, what hotel you're in, and I'll come down in the morning and see you. Are in your sick bed dying with strep throat and an ear infection and God knows what else, and I'll come and, love you up, and then I'll be on my way. And that really ran through me, and finally I just kind of had it. And I said, no, if I have to go pay for a hotel room just to be able to get some rest, I'm not going to have, you coming down there. If I can't stay at your home and you come home from work like an adult man and woman in a relationship and come to your home, to your partner, and I have to go to a hotel room with the man that I've given up everything for and moved in with, and have no home of my own now, then no, you're not coming to the hotel room to be with me. So then he starts accusing me of asking another guy, and who is it, and who's coming to the hotel room, and me laying there just, like, I'm over this, leave me alone, I just want to get some sleep. So later on that night, he does message me, and he says, well, did you end up going to a hotel? And I said, no, I'm at my mom's. I just decided to need good rest for sleep, but I was asleep. So at some point during the night, my phone falls off into the floor. I don't hear the text messages coming in. So I'm thinking, well, if he's with his kid, he's going to be really pissed off when I call, or he's not going to answer. But he did answer. And, of course, he was saying that he was alone. And he starts asking me, well, where were you at last night? I said, you know where I was at. I talked to you earlier. I was right here at my mom's house. Well, why wasn't you answering your texts? And I said, well, because I fell asleep. I was sick. And I'm explaining to him, and he's just like, yeah, well, did you go up to so-and-so? I was talking about my ex who lives close to my mom. And I'm like, no, I did not go there, which I never thought about it at the time, but I could have if I had asked, because eventually he was trying to get me to get back together with him anyway, as soon as he found out that I was no longer seeing this jerk. But I could have gone there and taken a hot bath and gotten a good night's sleep, but I didn't, because I was still, in my mind and in my heart and in my life, I still wanted to be with the narcissist, the dummy. We talked a few more times through that week, and that was the week leading up to Thanksgiving, I believe, and he gave me this big, bogus story about how he and his kid were going out of town to visit his family for Thanksgiving, and well, I'm sitting there thinking, he's telling me we're still together. Just give me enough time to kind of play her over here, play baby mama, and get her off my back. And then he's telling me, I'm going to talk to my kid about you this weekend. I'm going to tell them, that you and I are going to be together. I'm not going back to the mother. And I want the child to accept that, and I want them to get used to that, and I want them to know that you're going to be a part of our lives. And I'm thinking, well, why didn't he invite me to go out of town with him to meet his family? Why wasn't he saying to me, this will be the perfect opportunity. We'll go on this little road trip, and you can spend time with my family and with my child, and we'll all, finally get on with it, But no, he didn't. And the point is that he didn't even go out of town. I saw that I was too questioning, and I was asking too many questions, and I was doubting him, and I wasn't falling at his feet anymore with like just giving in to every little demand and every little request, and I was putting up an argument to it, and I wasn't at his beck and call. Anyway, that was pretty much my story as far as how things came to an end between me and him. But it had never really even occurred to me about that sleep deprivation until this other woman was talking about that, and how that's how they love bomb you, that's how they mirror you and groom you. They keep you sleep deprived, and they keep you, and then they start to pull away, so that of course you're like stressed out and doubtful and what's going on, Are they tired of me already? I'm so into them. I can't imagine them not being in my life. They give you just enough doubt to make you feel even more deprived, So it's all just this mind game. And I can't believe in 4 years of all this since discard took place that I never got that. But there was something else that she talked about in her video that I wanted to talk about, and that'll be in my next video. I just wanted to come back and ask, did anybody here go through that sleep deprivation, go through that mental haze? I know we all went through a mental haze. When you're with a narcissist, it's inevitable that you will go through something like that. But I just wanted to kind of comment on that, because that was something I had not put two and two together. And I'm glad that I stumbled upon her video, because it really gave me some more insight into the mind of a narcissist. And maybe that's why he intentionally dates and is, you know, involved with women who work the opposite shift of him. That and the fact that he can cheat during the day while they're at work. Because, you know, I knew that he was, later on, when my mind did finally begin to clear, I learned that he had a couple other people that he was messing with. I went to my local health department. I talk about this in my playlist, My Relationship with a Narcissist. And I got myself tested, and then 6 months later I went back and I got myself tested again. And if you've been with a narcissist, I suggest that you do that. If you're in a relationship with one right now and you're having sex with them, I suggest that you do that. Even if you think you're keeping a close enough eye on them, and even if you're using protection, you're not always fully protected. And that's how I'm going to end this video. I just wanted to say thanks for watching. Leave your comments if you went through this sleep deprivation, this mind control. This is something like what they do to prisoners. You know, we don't even realize that we're being, mirrored or groomed. We're being manipulated. We're being brainwashed. We're being mind controlled by these people. And I can't believe it took me 4 years to finally clear my mind up enough that I remembered that part of my story. And I just wanted to share that. And I hope that you all will leave your stories, leave your comments, and thanks for watching.